Hey guys, welcome back to another commentary from a national champion. This time I have Tainain Dlpra for you versus Jay Rodriguez. J-Rod. Sorry that I've been away for a couple of weeks, guys. I've just been really quite unwell after competing at the state titles. And then I've got nationals coming up in a couple of weeks as well. And so we're just a bit busy at the moment, but we'll try and get this sorted. I've only got a little bit of time, so we'll get into it straight away. Now, just before we begin, thank you so much for all the support. It's always a pleasure to have new viewers to the channel. It makes me feel like an actual YouTuber. I'd love to get to 1,000 subscribers pretty soon, and I think we're, 141 people off of that, I think, at last count. So that's pretty cool. So let's just get straight into it. Forgot to mute that. So we've got Tainan, on the left, J-Rod on the right. Tainan's very good. I'm a big fan of young Dlpra here. Seems like a very sensible young man as well, just in his personal life. And he's very, very good at jiu-jitsu. And so we begin this match a little bit more weary, I suppose, would be the way to put this. Sorry, guys. You might be able to hear I'm still a little bit unwell. Honestly, such a beautiful sequence. That's really, really good. I love that. So we get to this position here, and you can see how Tainan's not really defending the knee line with his hand. He kind of is a little bit, and J-Rod slaps the head down, and it's to be expected that Jay would be really good at wrestling just because of who his brother is and the fact they wrestle all the time. And so Tainan stands up, and then Jay does like a little feint with his hands straight away. Head tall, beautiful positioning with the head on the armpit so that it makes it harder for the guillotine. Super deep wrap on these legs. And I love how this far side hand is not going for knee, but rather for bum cheek, and this near side hand is going for knee. This type of disparity, it lets you really control the hips quite nicely. And so you can see how Tainan, is flying and he goes for that guillotine wrap. Just make sure that this is on the highest quality we can get. He goes for that guillotine wrap, and Jay, quite courteously, is putting a hand down, but he's also setting up like a cartwheel pass to the other side. So he doesn't want to land head down, feet on the same side, because he will get guillotined. So he's already transitioned this tackle into a cartwheel pass to the other side. And then he stands up and starts to take the guillotine off, and then Tainan loses it as Jay gets the double tackle again. And so he does a knee tap as his head's coming loose, and so he manages to get the takedown again. Those are some big falls for Tainan, but he doesn't give a fuck. Small people, young people never give a fuck about falling heavy. So we see this body lock position here, but Tainan's doing a good job of getting the hand free. And then Jay's still going back into it because that's his A game. So this is something that we see is really good by the Rod brothers, is that they don't give a fuck who they're versing. They just go straight into their A game, and that's honestly something to for me to aspire to, and all the rest of us who are doing competitions, is just the ability to not care who your opponent is and just start doing your jiu-jitsu. Is what makes people really good. It's what makes Gordon really good. It's what makes Nicky Rod, J-Rod, Craig Jones really good. And to a lesser degree, Tainan here as well. But the people that really excel at the top are the people that can do what Jay's doing. Now, I believe Jay was saying that he takes matches even if he's scared of the other person because it drives the most growth. I can't remember if he said he was scared of Tainan. But, you can see that despite maybe not being scared of the match, he's still doing his A game as best he can. So we get into this wizard lock, this overwrap lock, and it's quite dangerous because I'm really sorry, guys. The exposure of space between elbow and hip does expose the shoulder and does expose the elbow. And then the other side can be exposed for the leg stepping up and over the top to triangle. So this isn't the best position for Jay to be in, especially with someone like Tainan who's able to hold himself off the ground, like you can see. And so Tainan's trying to wedge the head tall, and he's setting up a potential for that triangle. As I mentioned, also potential for omoplata. But he's also potentially setting up sweeps up and over the top by wedging Jay's head to the side. And you can see, yeah, it looks like he's trying to go for a triangle here to me, personally. But Jay manages to stand up, so Tainan hooks onto that leg and goes for a knee bar, like a reap over the top. And this will set up some really nice leg entanglements. But sorry again, guys, I'm really sorry. But, you know, Jay's already defending that on the top leg, and so there's not going to be much danger here, I think. Jay sits heavy, defends that outside leg, and Tainan's looking to get the heel hook, but he doesn't quite have the heel hook knee bar combo. Jay just pushes out, shrimps out. Tainan loses position. So now Tainan can play Tainan's A game, and we can see how he's starting to lace up the legs and start threatening the back, but this becomes quite a nice little entanglement position. Jay defends that really nicely. Jay defends that really, really nicely. So, you know, his toes are pointed forwards. He's pushing Tainan off the knee line. He's clearing the knee line slowly over time. And he's like fucking with Tainan's hands to stop Tainan being able to use this leg back over the top of the thigh. So at the moment, there's not really much danger because Tainan's around the calf, not above the quadzilla that is Jay. And the only thing that's keeping Tainan in this fight is the hands, because Jay's foot is pushing on Tainan's butt. And so all Jay has to do is free those hands, and then he can start getting out, which is what he does. And then Tainan's going in for like a knee shield and all the rest of it, but Jay does a really good job of pummeling into like a knee cut pass position. I would have loved to see a little bit more patience here on Jay's part. So he gets up. Let's have a look. He gets up and he smashes in, and this is really heavy now. This is really, really heavy. I'd love to see connecting the hands together. And I know that the forearms across the neck, and that's really unpleasant, but just turn your head to the side, connect your hands together and drop the shoulder down. And that remains really heavy and crowds Tainan quite a lot, and he has to use a lot of force to push you away. Then you can go into your knee cut pass, and so you burn a little bit of juice. And he does use a little bit of force, but not as much as he could have been forced to use. And so from here, you can see how that priority leg is being not being controlled, because Tainan's controlling the hand. That would control the priority knee. Because of this, Tainan's going to be able to start forward hip escaping back into a guard pretty easily. And you see how he's looking for that other leg, looking to scoop in underneath. And then Tainan gets the guard back. Jay gives up on the pass. Very beautiful, short and sharp weaves. So Jedi, you should be paying attention to what Tainan does with this knee here. See how it's so close to his chest? And the weave came from the knee, not from the hip. And so now this bottom foot is disconnected from the other person. This is a ball, and it's very, very hard to pass. It's a beautiful example of a really good guard. So even though the feet aren't touching, that doesn't matter, because the knees are close to the armpits and the hips are curling in, not necessarily the chest curling in. And so Tainan's doing this really good job of controlling that priority arm, which will control the bottom knee, which will make it easier to pass. And Jay's doing a really good job of riding that J line. The Jeopardy line, or whatever the fuck. The hips. I always like to overcomplicate things. That was close. That's close. That was a mistake by Jay. So he dives in and he overextends, and he just about gets his arm fucking broken, so he has to jump. Tainan immediately chomps on that arm. And has to let it go because of how spazzy the fuck out this was. But he's in an omoplata position now, and it's sorry guys, I'm really sorry. He's in an omoplata position, and Jay manages to muscle out of it, but he's only getting out of this because he spazzed the fuck out, you know, not because he did something well. So Tainan's capitalizing really well, and I'd suggest that between the two of them, Jay's much more physical. Tainan is, as if to illustrate the point, Tainan is much more technical, as if to illustrate the point. I fucking love it when things go my way like that. I fucking love it, guys. So we're here. For some reason, it's not for some reason, like this is technically defense, but for some reason Jay decides to jump rather than just stepping calmly. You see how off balance he is this way? All the Taina has to do is push this knee and he kind of just falls a little bit, like maybe. He probably will be quick enough to get the knees underneath him, but against someone that's just as quick as he is, it's a bit difficult. So he doesn't accomplish much. Tainan manages to get the inside foot underneath and he like wraps over the top. And attacks the heel again. And so now again, this is a bad spot for J-Rod to be. But he is managing to defend quite nicely. And so he gets up. Tainan wants to play guard. He gets punched in the face. And we're back into that J-Ride lining. And again, this is such a beautiful guard that I'm seeing from Tainan. I'm a big fan of this guard. You can see the hips, how they're like riding up. So bringing the knees to meet the armpits, not bringing the armpits to meet the knees. And so we get to here, and Tainan's just no worries at all, defending this guard quite nicely. I don't think that this is putting too much pressure through him because of how nicely he's on his side. So it'll just be J-Rod like collapsing his knees in like a spring rather than Tainan necessarily having to do much physical work here. Very technical, very nice. Very good work. You see how Tainan is off balancing and trying to do the Marcelo wrap on that hand. The only thing I'd be worried about if I was Tainan is lifting the elbows too tall, because J-Rod seems like the type of dude that would just straight up fucking jump for a triangle or whatever. And then all of a sudden you have balls to the face and your elbows being broken, and that doesn't seem like a very good time to me. Maybe to others, but to me personally, I wouldn't like that. So I would like to keep my elbows in to make sure that I'm not getting jumped on for triangles and things. I enjoy what Tainan's doing, but I really feel like he could capitalize quite a fair bit on this hand placement. This hand placement doesn't feel like it's doing much to me. It should be around the hips, really, so that you can use your shoulder to pressure the knee down. And overwrapping with your left hand on this arm would open up space to put a butterfly hook in, get the knee to this side of the body, and then all of a sudden you are kind of inviting a body lock, but like you're not really. You're going to be more threatening sweeps than you are getting past, especially if you're maintaining control of that other arm. And so I'd like to see that more by Tainan, but he seems to be really obsessed with this idea of going inverted, and he kind of gets punished for it pretty badly here. He's doing well putting his knees back in, but I can guarantee you that was a lot of effort, and that would have been a fair bit of panic. You know, you see how he's breathing quite heavy here. That was a fair bit of effort. So really good work re-guarding, but also just always trying to invert underneath. Gets shut down and beaten by a crossface, basically. And so when we're here and he gets up on his shoulder, he just exposes the inside space too much, you know. He exposes the inside space too much, and you can see how Jay put his hand underneath the arm, does a big back step, and then all of a sudden his chest starts collapsing into that inside space, and then Tainan starts losing the whole position. Controlling the head's a really nice detail. Now the only thing that Tainan has is a bench press off the top, and what J-Rod should be doing is instead of head on the hip, he should be pummeling that into beside the body, like beside the hip, and then he'll get the pass. Instead of going in the middle, he should be hunting for this space in here, and then he'll get the pass, especially if he occupies the other side with his left hand. And so he almost gets the pass, almost secures it. Tainan's pushing him up, and so he's using his hips, Jay that is, to push the hands off the hips, but this is what allows the space for the feet to go back in. And so, you know, like a nice lot of guard. Jay's being very aggressive here. Tainan did a really good job keeping that guard, but again, that wouldn't happen if he didn't go for inversions when it wasn't the right time to do so. Going for an inversion here is not very good. You know, we learn lessons from Adam Wadzinski here, where you go for butterfly hooks in that position, and then that's what you sweep people with. Very nice. And so we get back into the same type of play position. Tainan's once again going for that far side hand. You can see how now he has an underhook and the overwrap, and this is quite bad for Jay. Jay's athletic enough that he'll be able to like pounce up to his feet and start circling around the outside when Tainan goes for a sweep. But if Tainan manages to get the left knee inside the hook, it's going to be very, very difficult. But Jay manages to smash him down. And starts getting the body lock wrap anyway. So from this position, I quite like what Jay's doing. Very nice to both of them again. I quite like what Jay's done. I'm not sure why that was allowed. I guess Jay's just fucking heaved him in. So again, it's just about part being physical, right? This is out physiquing your opponent. It's not really out techniquing them. Just fucking straight up lifts both of them off the floor, pummels Jay flat, and then uses all the strength available to him to basically cross-face his body flat to the other side. And again, between the two of them, I would suggest Tainan's a better grappler, but Jay's just really, really physical. Jay passes to the mount with that leg weave push through. And then what he should be doing here is, instead of grapevining, which is a piece of shit, never do it, he should be crossing his feet underneath the thighs and then driving his hips in. Then he would have kept them out. But he doesn't because he prefers grapevines for some fucking reason, and loses mount because, again, he chose to not cross his feet. Beautiful work by Tainan. Jay's getting on the offensive. They're back to the middle. And so again, it's just the same idea that we've been seeing this whole kind of time. I would also favor Jay in this position, but I don't know. It's a little bit disappointing to see, for lack of a better word, not beautiful jiu-jitsu being rewarded. Like, I love technical jiu-jitsu when it's rewarded. So maybe I'm just too much of a Tainan fanboy, but the idea that the only reason Jay won that exchange to mount before was literally because he lifted them both off the floor is like, yeah, okay, well done, you're a good grappler, but also, fucking hell, man, that, like, you only got away with that because you cheesed your way out of it, not because you positioned yourself right to begin with. That's just me personally, though. Like, I'm not very good, so it doesn't matter. But I prefer Tainan's style of jiu-jitsu where it's all technique-based rather than I'm in a bad spot, I'm going to bench press you. Beautiful leg weaves. Beautiful work by Jay going side to side to try and find those openings. But Tainan keeping those knees tucked into that chest and like still looking for those inversions and things is very difficult. And so Jay's around the top side now. Tainan's keeping the guard in, like a little spin top. Again, I feel like that hand was a bit of an overextension and he could have been punished for that. So when we're here, that hand there is a little bit of an overextension if Tainan would like pull that leg through and then slap this knee down on top of that elbow. Pull the arm through, sorry. It would have been very difficult for Jay in that position. But again, he might have just dived super heavy on it, so who knows. It seems like a little bit of an overextension while he's trying to get into this knee ride position. You can see how his hand positioning here is not very good. It's not on the hip, and like there's no power in this foot pushing sideways, and this angling of the knee is not quite right, and this bum's too low and the chest is too tall. So he's not really putting pressure on Tainan at all. He's just like out pacing at the moment, and that's the reason why he's getting here. But because he's not got pressure on, see how easy that was for Tainan to push him away. And so Jay needs to do a fair bit of work, I think, in terms of, yeah, you like that hand we saw again. Let's see. Tries to jump out of it. like this whole sequence, it just reeks of Tainan being in control the whole time. You know, like it's a little bit further back than I thought. Sorry, guys. You can see his right hand, right? So he's got relatively good positioning, as is, with this knee going forwards. But this hand is so fucking abysmally bad. It should be latched onto the hips, and this foot should be like over here, right? What that lets you do is use this inside hand to control the knee until you can get behind the head, jam the head in, which will by extension control the knee, because you can't bring objects into space that's already occupied. The hips is where it's at, not the shoulders. This hand won't do much. You need to be controlling the hips to be able to pull your hips into his knee to collapse that down and force him to push you away. But Tainan does a really good job of trying to invert again. And Jay's trying to jump out of it, and Tainan just catches his leg. And so, yeah, Jay scrambles out of it and then straight back into it. So he's doing a good job of getting away, which is kind of really annoying for Tainan. But also, how many times have we seen him run away now because he fucked it up? If I was one of the judges, I would actually be saying that Tainan's winning now, despite that mount attempt, because Tainan's been on the offensive the whole time and forced Jay to disengage the fight, otherwise he'd lose. In the same way, it's like exactly the same to me as how Jay forced Tainan to bench press him off the top, otherwise he was going to lose. And so everything that we just saw, what Jay was doing, is basically a bench press from bottom of mount. Basically. And so, like, it is very clear to me that Tainan is the better grappler. At least more technical grappler, I should say. Because it's not all about, like, whether or not you're more technical, as whether or not you can win a match is actually what matters. And so, you know, like, people will complain about size and all the rest of it, but it's a tool to use just the same. So we get into this really cool position. Trying to heel hook fucking Tainan in a real weird, real wank type way. And Tainan wrestles up, does a really good job of it, decides to sit down again because you're not going to out-wrestle J-Rod. It's just not going to happen. Get back into this knee cut pass. And then it's much the same as what we've seen. I'll let you know if anything interesting happens. So J-Rod's trying to get to that body lock pass. Tainan's doing a good job of not really allowing it. I've often said that small men shouldn't fight because it's not natural. Look how much fucking gas these boys have. It's gas for days. They don't even look like they're sweating yet. And Tainan does that really good job trying to lift J-Rod up into a single leg X, but J-Rod does a better job of sprawling out. So we get into this disengage and re-engage, which is, again, like I said it before, it's the same as bench pressing off of mount, but it's also the right decision at the time, because you don't want to lose the match, obviously, so you need to disengage like what J-Rod's doing when it's going wrong for you, because otherwise it will go wrong for you and you'll just lose. So just because it's the same as, and Tainan's forcing the disengagement, doesn't mean you shouldn't disengage. You should 100% disengage so you can re-engage favorably later. Very difficult match for both of these boys. And so Tainan's, again, doing a really good job of those leg weaves and keeping J-Rod away. Jay's trying to pummel around the side. He finds that entrance into the middle again. Tainan goes deep Dlpra, back to reverse Dlpra, back to inversions. That very much seems to be his A game. I'm personally not a fan of his decision-making here. I feel like he should be trying to close and engage on the butterfly hooks and underhooks or overwraps for Sumigatames, or whatever the fuck they're called. Just because elevating the hips is going to be what off-balances J-Rod. And because he's so heavy on the scramble, you're going to need to be really attached to him so that he doesn't get back up to his feet so you can actually score those points again. And like make advancements in the match. And yes, engaging into the legs will do that, but Jay trains with Craig Jones, and he's one of the best leg lockers on the planet, right? So you're probably not going to get leg entanglements as much as you are going to get sweep attempts, or you will get leg entanglements from sweep attempts, not from leg entry attempts, if this makes sense. And so you need to kind of, like, my straps still catch mice, you just need to disguise them better, is kind of the idea that we're going for here. And I don't think you're going to get too many leg entanglements from a inversion, as we just see again. J-Rod just fucking pulls out of it. And like dives on the knee, and then you're only getting this leg entanglement because J-Rod fucked that up, not because he did well. Literally dived into it for you. And so like going for sweep attempts with butterfly hooks will allow for inversions, and J-Rod literally dives fucking hand first into a lion's mouth and allows Tainan to get this leg wrap. And so we're here in this position. Tainan does a really good job going into like a reap position. Jay does a good job getting up. Tainan manages to sweep, holds onto that bottom leg beautifully, so Jay can't scramble. And then we'll see what happens. So he's got hold of that bottom leg. Jay's trying to get up to turtle, and then Tainan gets around the back, gets a hook in, finally lets go of that leg at the very last as the hook goes in, and almost manages to get the back. Falls off the top, fucking did that once, snapped my AC joint, because that I feel tingles in my shoulder now. Really good work here. Doesn't quite manage to get the back. I would have loved to have seen just a little bit more in the way of patience here, where like you keep hold of that foot the whole time till that first hook goes in, and then like slap on a choke and start looking for the choke, forcing the defense, and then put the other hook in. And so Tainan went the other way around. He went for a leg entanglement to get the sweep, which is also perfectly valid, but you need to be trying both. I stand by what I said before, is that you're not really going to get a leg entanglement on J-Rod. Like, not really. And again, Jay kind of cheeses his way out of it because he just stands up with a whole ass fucking human on his back that weighs 80 kilos, shakes him off the top, pushes down on that leg that Tainan has, wrenches his way out by jumping. See how fucking much his quads are bulging. And so, again, really good way to defend if you can, but this shouldn't really be taken as a case study in what you should be doing if you're against someone like Tainan to defend, because it's not really something that everyone can do, if this makes sense. It's not really techniques you can accomplish unless you are jacked to the gills or juiced to the gills or whatever the fuck you want. And rightfully so, Tainan is now declared like the more aggressive competitor. Goes to that inversion again. Personally, I never feel comfy down there. Oh, very, very nice work. Almost gets the triangle. And personally, I never feel comfy down there, but I was going to say there are a lot of threats to be had, because you can spin top. Let me try that again. You can spin top like what we just saw. 1 foot going under the far side, 1 foot going over the shoulder. And then if you're not careful of your J-Rod, you do get latched onto, like so. And then the only thing that Tainan needs to do now is not control that bottom knee per se yet, but control the head with the hand. And then like pull the knees in before he ever starts trying to lock up that triangle, because otherwise this happens. And so in this case, he shouldn't really be going for this hand. This hand should be holding onto the shin. This one should be holding on underneath the ankle now. But he doesn't, and Jay manages to slip out of it. Again, cheesing his way out of it because he just literally stands up and uses a lot of juice. And he's straight back into the fight. Tainan's doing a really good job of attacking these leg entanglements and inversions now. Jay's getting tired. Tainan's not as tired, and rightfully so that Jay should be tired. He's been doing a lot more physical work this whole match. And so yeah, He doesn't have the juice really anymore. Like that was a lot more lazy than it was before. And I don't say lazy as in he didn't want to move. I say lazy as in he look at his face. He's fucking dying inside, you know. And so we're into this match. Jay's trying to pull himself backwards again, trying to cheese his way out of the position. But Tainan, because now Tainan has the juice to burn, Tainan does burn the juice. And so we're into this position where Tainan gets like a bottom side inverted body lock and then kicks the legs out, comes up on top. Easy peasy. Pushes J-Rod down. Gets underneath that shoulder so that Jay can't back away as easily. And he's like threatening to pull Jay into the bottom of a guard. Jay's trying to push the leg away so that he can free this knee down and through. But Tainan doesn't allow it. Hip switches, sprawls out, gets a body lock. Jay's really tired now. Gets smashed down. And Tainan starts taking a side control. Jay manages to pummel back into bottom of a guard, but Tainan's not letting up now. And so now it's Tainan's turn to start pressuring in. And I think that Tainan just played the strategy way better, is that he weathered the storm, and the storm has lost a lot of its luster. And you can see how Tainan's like really pressuring in now. The storm lost a lot of its luster. And they're both suffering, but Jay's definitely suffering more. And Jay goes in for a wrestle up. Tainan gets that headlock front position. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this right hand come to the same side and then Tainan starts shifting around the top. I wouldn't be surprised. Either that or he's just flexible enough in his shoulders to come around the top anyway. That looks gross to me. Cool. So the hand comes out from in the middle. He's going the other way around. Instead of this hand coming out the front first, he goes around the side. Sorry, guys. He goes around the side, and then the hand that was underneath the arm goes over the top first before this one ever comes in. So he's doing the same idea, he's just going the other way around the corner. Really nice control, because this sets up the ability for the left hand to pull as he sits down around the corner. Holding onto the hips, this leg will go in for the back control. Then this hand will come out on the near side of the face, and he'll take the back, like so. So very well done. Starts looking to attack straight away as he gets the hook in. So part of the defense, part of the control is the attack in back. And so he's got the really nice, this doesn't look like it's on. It looks like it's on the chin, but he's got a really nice attack going. And so Jay defends this really nicely. He's very much losing this match now. And truthfully, I enjoy the fact that Tainan's now winning this quite handedly, because it's vindicating seeing just raw physicality get punished by proper technique and patience, as it should be. Get that body lock in. It's a very unpleasant position now for J-Rod to be. And kind of winning is now a formality. So they're both suffering. One suffering more than the other, because it's weird because you get a bit more of a rest if you're in Jay's position, but you're in much more danger. You don't get as much of a rest, but you get to finish the match if you're in Tainan's position. And so this is a bit of a difficult spot to be, and Tainan's just doing a good job of controlling, but having Jay central on his hips is a fucking nightmare. So he body locks again, rolls off sideways, and now this is heading more and more and more into a very convincing win for Tainan. I'd love to see him. So Jay starts going for like a very nice defense by holding that bottom knee, and then as he holds that bottom knee, he wants the hips to come over the top and sprawl out, because this will stop Tainan from being able to follow up and over the top with his legs, and so he'll be forced back into the bottom of a closed guard. But because he has hold of the top shoulder, is stopping J-Rod from being able to sprawl out effectively. And so we get this power Nelson. And we see this really nice defense coming in. Jay's doing really nice technique now that he's tied. He gets hold of that leg. Starts looking to clear the body lock. But Tainan's starting to attack. And as I said, part of the... really nice defense. Part of the control and a back control is the attack. If I was Tainan here, I'd be unlocking this guard and putting the bottom foot on the floor, trying to kick it out the other side as I come up and over the top and fight for top mount. But Jay again manages to find the effort somewhere to pummel out, and now we're back into the bottom of a closed guard. Tainan's going for that leg entanglement, and now he has to be careful because he was winning 1 second, but there's still a minute and a half to go, and you see how Jay's now pushing the attack because he knows he needs to. He's already lost this match unless he can make something happen, and so it doesn't matter if he gets caught because he was going to lose anyway, so he may as well put the aggression in, which is a dangerous spot for Tainan to be in, all things considered. And so, yeah, we're back into this body lock type position. I don't think it actually will matter if Jay passes. He's doing the Joseph Shen style of passing, but he kind of fucks it up. I don't think it would matter if he passed aside. I think it would matter if he passed a mount, and then Tainan would lose. If he passed aside, I think it would be a pretty convincing win for Tainan. This whole time has been kind of Tainan, though, except for that wrestling, but we know this. So again, Tainan almost gets that heel hook. Jay defends it quite nicely. They're both sweaty now. You can see Tainan's tired as well because he wasn't doing anything with his hands for a brief minute there. Then he remembers that he actually needs to still do jiu-jitsu. And then this is where, like, you're both tired, but the more aggressive person will win. But again, if Tainan manages to hold the guard, he wins, I think. Especially because Jay keeps on fucking walking straight into arm lock and triangle attempts. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice Granby roll there from Tainan. So Jay gets double unders. He pummels around the side. And he starts to look to get those double unders. Walks into a armbar attempt. It's kind of fucking this up pretty badly. The only thing that saves him is pushing that leg down, by the way, and passing around the side. And so he gets double unders here. He almost gets triangled again. Gets the double unders and starts being super aggressive for this pass. Tainan does this beautiful defense on that shoulder, pushing J-Rod down and then shrimping. Now, you can shrimp and start turning your body so that your knees get back in the way, or you can opt for an immediate Granby roll, like what Tainan does. So rolling over that right shoulder, which opens up triangle attempts because you can see this leg is traveling over the top of the neck. The other leg is still out the bottom. And so we get to here, and all he has to do now is lock his legs up around that, around the top of J-Rod's shoulders there, and he would have had the triangle attempt. And so really, really good job. Staying super strong on this so that J-Rod doesn't like latch onto a toe hold and just fucking wrench it. And then 4 seconds left. That's all she wrote, basically. Yeah. Really good match. They seemed like they had a lot of good fun. They're talking about it after the fact, and they're showing a lot of respect, so this is good. I haven't seen this. I don't know who won or lost, but if it was me judging, I would say that Tainan's winning. You know, I'd say that Tainan's won this one. Let's find out. Yep. Fuck yeah. So Tainan wins. He looks fucking juicy, doesn't he? Already. What do you mean you got a jawline that strong at 22? I'm not surprised by this, though, because of that back take and the threats and all the rest of it, especially in the last little bit. And also the technical prowess that he displayed, staving off the physicality, was insane. On a technique base, Tainan is much, much better than J-Rod. Much better. And it really showed in this match, especially over the course of 15 minutes. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. That's another episode. I'm sorry for coughing the whole time. I'm doing the best I can. If you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments down below. If you'd like to join the Discord to chat with me, you're welcome to do so. And then lastly, please hit a like and a subscribe because it really helps the channel out, makes me feel like an actual YouTuber. Thank you so much, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye now.